Jesus is a lot of things to us. He's our Father. He's our friend. But today we're going to talk about how he's our advocate. And a lot of times I think we brush over the fact that he is literally the only person who can justify you in the courtroom of God to get to the pearly gates of heaven. And so we're going to talk about that today. And Hebrews 7 and 8 kind of sum it up perfectly, starting in Hebrews 7 verse 11. And it says, "Now if perfection had been attainable through a Levitical priest, for under it the people received the law, what further need would there have been for another priest to arise after the order of Melchizedek, rather than one named after the order of Aaron?" So basically right there it's saying if we could be accepted into the kingdom of heaven without having Jesus Christ come down, there would be no need for him to come and be the new priest that God sent to us so that we could be with him. And then we moved on to chapter 8, and it says, "Now the point in what we are saying is this: we have such a high priest, one who is seated at the right hand of the throne of the majesty of heaven, a minister in the holy places in the true tent that the Lord set up, not man. For every high priest is appointed to offer gifts and sacrifices. Thus it is necessary for this priest also to have something to offer. Now if he were on earth, he would not be a priest at all, since there are priests who offer gifts according to the law. They serve a copy and a shadow of the heavenly things. But when Moses was about to erect the tent, he was instructed by God, saying, 'See that everything you make according to the pattern that was shown to you on the mountain.' But as it is, Christ has obtained a ministry that is more excellent than the old, as a covenant he mediates is better, since he is enacted on better promises. For if that first covenant had been faultless, there would be no occasion to look for a second." So what it's basically saying is kind of what I just said, is that if they could get through the Old Testament and get to heaven through the law and through following God's law and all these good things and good deeds and all of these 600 and some odd laws that God had told the Israelites, hey, you need to follow these things. If we could get to heaven by those things, there would be no reason for Jesus to come down and sacrifice himself. But here in Hebrews, it's saying, because Jesus came down, he's a better priest, and he had something to sacrifice, which was his life. And it's saying, if the first covenant was faultless, there would be no reason for a second. So God had a covenant with Abraham and a covenant with the people of Israel. And he said that he would lead them to the promised land, and all these different things happened. And he's saying that if that thing was faultless, if this whole process, obviously Israel was sinful, so they went up and down following the ways of God. If that was faultless, then there would be no reason for Jesus. Yet sometimes we look at Jesus as a friend, as a father, but we fail to recognize and appreciate the need that we have for him. See, I found myself doing this in my own life. We get to a place, even as born-again Christians, where we need Jesus. It's not just the people who aren't saved, but it's me and you. We are sinful people, and Jesus is the only one and only one who will ever be perfect. And he's the only one who can justify us in the courtroom of God. He's the only one who can say, no, he's covered by my blood. Otherwise, we're all damned to hell. And so we overlook this need that we have for Jesus Christ. And when we don't feel like we need something, then it's a little less likely for us to go after it, right? So, for example, there's things in this life that you can go do, right? You can go watch a sports game. The World Cup's going on right now. And you can go to a sports game or soccer game and go watch the World Cup. But some people don't even like soccer. And so they don't see a need to go watch the World Cup or to pay any attention to what's going on in it, right? Well, we can be the same way with Jesus, to where we see him as a friend, we see him as a father, we see him as this good teacher, but we don't see him as our advocate, and so we don't see a need for him. And we can get to this place subconsciously where we just make up in our brain that we don't need Jesus as much as we do. And it's a really dangerous place to be, because once again, Jesus is the only person who can advocate for you in the presence of God. So that's my challenge to you today, is to remember that Jesus is not only our friend, not only our father, not only our healer, all these different things, but Jesus is literally our advocate. So look at Jesus as our advocate and see what it does to you. When we recognize that the need that we have for Jesus, even when we are saved, when we recognize that need, it's going to challenge you to pursue Jesus with all of your heart. It's going to challenge you to pursue his word and pursue the things that he loves and hate the things that he hates. So today, try and recognize and get back to God and say, Lord, I know you're my advocate, and start to see him in that way. And I really just believe that when we start to see Jesus Christ as our advocate, we're going to chase after God in a different way and in a different perspective, because we understand that although some of us are saved and some of us aren't, we all need Jesus. Hopefully you had a great day, and hopefully this made your day a little bit better.